So I'm going to share a poem with you. I'm a poet. I'm going to share a poem with you. It's called If My Hands Were Anything Other Than Hands. And I give this to you from my heart. I don't know you all, but I give it to you from my heart. And I thank you for what you're doing. Baba way, Baba way, oh, Baba way, Baba way, oh. If my hands were anything other than hands, if my hands were anything other than hands, if my hands were anything other than hands, they would be two shooting stars galloping light across the galaxy. They would be a twin fandango of diamond-studded fingerprints hopscotching a radiant neon merengue of light from each folded velvet edge of midnight into every tidy galaxy of 14-karat suns. My shooting star hands would reach and leap and turn the faces of every burning celestial pedestrian, star-grazed and gazing, bright-eyed, amazed, and awestruck as my shooting star hands whipped by in a flurry of pirouettes, spitting sparks and spilling light, like each finger is a silver big flip lighter, flicking flames of hope into the open faces of those twinkling pale and incandescent sisters whose tears glisten and litter the blistering avenue-like sequence. I say now, can you see it? How my shooting star hands would wow and bow them out of their everyday orbits, turn their glowing dashboard Virgin Mary faces into an illuminated orchestra of rubies and gladiolas right before your very eyes. If my hands were anything other than hands, they would be a street corner jazz quintet. They would be a 10-fingered symphony of saxophones, trombones, clarinets, and trumpets wailing, rowdy, loud, and proud. Right out from under my fingernails, the song would swell and sing. It would ring from lampposts and reach into people's houses and bring mothers and sons come to dance in the middle of the street with fathers and daughters. And perhaps if my hands were a big bad jazz band, there would be no vicious, evil, and cruel death on the avenue, because I would send my fingers flying in a furious hurricane of eighth notes to slap into the faces of any slick-tongued, gun-toting mamma jamma who would come to steal my brother's breath. We would be all song and dance and celebration, just the way we are meant to be. If my hands were anything other than hands, they would be the infinite technology of forgiveness, and I would make forgiveness leap from person to person to person, more infectious than HIV or tuberculosis put together. If my hands were anything other than hands, they would be fields of clean, easy, rowing oranges and grapes and avocados, ripe and perfect enough not only to feed the body but to feed the soul. If my hands were anything other than hands, they would be clean water. Clean water for every thirsty person to drink. If my hands were anything other than hands, they would be 2 magic wands. They would be 10 abracadabra fingers for me to cure you of any cancer that ever ailed you. If my hands were anything other than hands, they would be 2 turntables and a microphone. But mostly, if my hands were anything other than hands, they would be 2 shooting stars galloping light across the galaxy. So thank you all for what you do, and thank you for listening. I really appreciate it.